So I'm going to be doing a tutorial on UV resin. UV resin is different than the one-to-one that you've seen previously. It's used for smaller items and it cures way faster because you use a light and heat source. When you do UV resin, part of the reason why you use smaller things like these gems is because the bigger the surface area, the likelihood that it'll cure unevenly, so the quality of the product would go down. Sorry, that was the dog. Because obviously can't fit it under one of these tiny little UV lamps. They also have handheld UV lamps that look like flashlights. When it comes to lamps, you want something that is at least 4 watts because it's just higher quality. It'll help cure faster. When it comes to the layers for the UV resin, like I said, you have to be thin. The thicker the layer, the longer it takes to cure. On average, it probably takes about a minute to a minute and a half for each layer to cure if it's thin. The quality of the resin does matter. The tinfoil is used to help reflect the UV light back up to the underside of the mold. That's the reason why you want to use clear or like only slightly opaque. Another cool thing about UV is it doesn't cure until you put the light on it. So unlike the one-to-one, you can spend as much time as you want working with it to make it exactly how you want. You want to just sort of, I like the squeezy tubes because you can just squeeze it right into the mold. Then I will move the mold around a little bit. And if I still need the resin to get into a position I want it, I'll use like a little spatula type thing. Well, I found with them, it is a lot easier to actually just like touch it with your finger, drop it into the resin, and then move it around with the tweezers to how you want it. For any layer that has actual color in it, you want to do it after you've put everything that you want seen in the layers, because otherwise it'll cover everything up that comes behind it. When you have everything set the way you want it, just give it a little push down, make sure it is actually covered by the resin. Fun fact, if you do gel nails at home, you could also use one of those lamps because they're just UV lamps. Anyway, so plug it in. On the top of the lamp, you see the time. There are different buttons for this one, 30, 60, and 90 seconds. I am going to start with the 60-second one. So you put it under, and then you hit the button, and you wait. Once the timer is finished, the light will turn off. Then I usually would take a toothpick. Well, that's a really thick toothpick. Take a toothpick, and you tap the resin, and if it comes back hard, and not super squid, like it doesn't like leave an indent, then you can do your next layer. Still a little sticky, so I'm gonna put it in for another 30 seconds. Also, side note, just like with any UV light, you want to be careful with it because it can cause cancer. So don't look directly at it. Try not to avoid having it directly on your skin. If I have resin somewhere I don't want it, I'll just take another toothpick and gonna try and scoop it out. It is a lot easier to just not put it there in the first place than to get it out. So just be careful when you're pouring. While that's curing, I'm just gonna make up my last layer. I'm gonna use glitter because I like glitter. So I'll just, if I'm not needing a lot in terms of stuff that I want to mix, I'll just pour it into my little silicone cup. Much like I did here, if you put a too high glitter to resin ratio, it makes it thick and kind of goopy. It's kind of like if you don't put enough like milk or water, depending on your recipe, when you're making like cake or brownies or something. All right, so this is done. So now you take it out of the mold, which is super easy. You just pop it right out. And this is what it looks like. Sometimes you can get kind of these little rough edges. You can just cut those off. With an X-Acto knife, I'm gonna run it through for another 30 seconds with the side that was like touching the mold facing up, just to give it a last good hurrah. All right, so there you have it. Little resin gem.